The cousin who had been pestering my boyfriend for 5 years suddenly announced she was getting married, though it felt odd. I sincerely sent her my blessings, but my boyfriend, who had always lulled her, became listless and despondent day after day when I happily showed him the carefully chosen wedding invitation designs. He snatched the tablet from my hand in irritation and smashed it on the floor. Elena, will you ever stop? Why do you have to compete with Leela in everything? She's getting married. So you want to get married to her, or are you just a copycat? I froze, wronged and confused. Wasn't it you who kept urging me to get married, saying you didn't want Leela pestering you anymore? Gabriel pinched the bridge of his nose, roaring at me impatiently. I don't want to get married now, can't you accept that? Staring at the shattered screen on the floor, I let out a bitter laugh. Fine, then we won't get married. As Gabriel finished speaking, his phone rang. Drowning out my voice, it was an unknown number. Thinking it was another sales call from a wedding planner, he swiped to answer and immediately snapped into the phone. Are you guys crazy? I said it a million times, I'm not getting married. I don't need a wedding planner. Gabriel eats me, came Leela's soft, sweet voice from the other end. Gabriel's eyes lit up with joy instantly, and the corners of his mouth curled up. She doubted this call for a long time before I get married. I want to see you one last time, is that okay? Leela asked cautiously. Gabriel agreed without hesitation. A sharp pain stabbed at my chest, and my gaze on him was tinged with sorrow. He used to hate Leela so much he'd de-block her number again and again, ignore her messages, and complain to me in disgust. Why is your cousin so annoying? She's like a sticky plaster, clinging to me all day, impossible to shake off. Then he'd turn to me, his eyes softening with affection. If it weren't for your sake, I would have yelled at her and blocked her long ago. As compensation, Elena, you have to marry me soon, so she'll stop pestering me. Nestled in Gabriel's arms, I blushed and smiled. Agreeing, his loving gaze and gentle voice were still vivid in my memory, but now, what flushed wasn't my cheeks, but my eyes. After hanging up the phone, Gabriel hurried to leave, so eager that he didn't even notice his coat was on backwards. Gabriel, I called out, forcing back the soreness in my throat. Gabriel turned, frowning at me, his tone perfunctory. Emergency at the company. I have to go. I tried to hold him back, my voice a little humble. Can you not go? Elena. Gabriel raised his voice, his eyes cold and sharp with extreme disgust. Will you ever stop? Are you dying, or won't you live to see tomorrow? Can't whatever you have to say wait until I get back? His gaze cut into me like ice blades, and my heart stopped in my chest. Gabriel had looked at Leela with this gaze for 5 years, but now he'd only looked at me once. Tears welled up in my eyes. I walked forward slowly, holding back the tears, afraid to blink and let them fall. I fixed his coat, picked up his car keys, and held them out to him, forcing a smile. It was on backwards. Once again, I chose to compromise for him, maybe realizing he'd overreacted. Gabriel's expression softened a little. He pursed his lips. I didn't mean those things. Don't take them to heart. Seeing him into the elevator as I always did the moment the elevator doors started to close, his phone rang. I pressed the open button, staring at him intently, my eyes filled with love and hope. Will you come back tonight? Gabriel swatted my hand away, saying perfunctorily, I'll be back. I'll wait for you. The elevator doors closed, and at the same time, the hallway light went out in the silence. Tears fell silently. I knew full well he wouldn't come back. I sat in the living room all night, waiting. But Gabriel didn't return. He'd forgotten that tomorrow was my 25th birthday, our 7th anniversary, and the day we'd agreed to visit my foster mother in the nursing home. My foster mother's health was getting worse, but she'd still prepared a birthday gift for me, jar of little stars she'd folded by hand, glowing brightly as they lay neatly in the glass bottle. Didn't he come? My foster mother smiled kindly. I fed her the sliced fruit I prepared. He's been busy with the company lately. I'll bring him to see you in a couple of days. My foster mother's only wish now was to see Gabriel and me get married with her own eyes. Sorrow welled up in my heart, and I called Gabriel. The call was answered quickly, but not by Gabriel. Cousin, Gabriel hasn't woken up yet. Do you have something to say? I can pass it on for you. My heart plummeted, and 1,000 words stuck in my throat. Cousin? Cousin? A girlish giggle came from the other end. Really? You're getting mad over this? I was just in a bad mood and asked Gabriel Jige to come keep me company. Why are you being so petty, cousin? Hearing this blatant provocation, I couldn't help but let out a sneer. I'd always put up with Leila because she was my distant cousin and a few years younger than me, but instead of holding back, she'd only gotten more outrageous. Leila, you're getting married, you Ray, not a child anymore. You should learn to respect yourself. After a moment of silence, there was a faint sob on the phone. I'm sorry. Cousin, it's all Leila's fault. Leila won't see Gabriel Ge again ever. In the space of a sentence, Leila was sobbing uncontrollably, realizing I'd spoken too harshly. I was about to comfort her when Gabriel's voice suddenly cut in. Scolding, Elena, apologize, Leila's not like you. She's an innocent girl, so he can't stand being slandered like that. The words hit me like a sudden blade to the heart, and I could barely breathe. My voice trembling, I asked, Gabriel, what do you mean by that? I'll say it again, apologize to Leila. Gabriel's tone hardened, carrying an unyielding command. Gabriel Jige. Leila's fault if Leila dies. Cousin won't be angry anymore. Leila was up to her old trick of threatening suicide again. Gabriel, with no more time to spare for me, spat out a harsh warning before hanging up. Elena, you'd better pray Leila's okay. Listening to the busy tone on the phone, I stood dazed by the roadside. The snowflakes on my cheeks melted into warm tears. I was lost in confusion. How had Gabriel, who once saw me as his everything and promised to love only me for life, suddenly become someone else entirely? I returned home in a sorry state, and my phone chimed with 2 messages. One was from the bridal shop. Elena, the wedding dress Mr. Gabriel custom ordered for you is ready. Please come try it on as soon as possible for adjustments. The other was from Gabriel, make me a strawberry cake when you're free. Gabriel had never liked desserts. In the past, he'd only take a reluctant bite if I made them by hand. Then I scrolled to Leila's moments by candlelight. She had her hands clasped, and her exposed wrist was covered in countless scars, each one, in her words, a testament to her love for Gabriel. More striking than the scars, though, was the glittering sapphire necklace around her neck. Her caption read, got the gift, just hoping to get a strawberry cake from my love before the wedding. Mechanical sound of the front door opening shattered the silence inside. Seeing me sitting on the sofa, Gabriel's brows furrowed. Where's the cake I asked for? I sat on the sofa, staring silently at him. I don't feel like making it today. He tossed his car keys down impatiently, the disgust in his eyes undisguised. Is this necessary? It's just a birthday. Can't we celebrate any other year? I let out the breath I'd been holding and laughed. So he did remember. No one forgets the birthday of someone they care about. If they do, it's only because they don't care. Still clinging to a sliver of hope, I asked if he remembered his old promises. At that, a flicker of disdain crossed Gabriel's face as he met my gaze. I'm busy with meetings every day. Who has time to remember such trivial things? Before Leila announced her marriage, he'd said that making me happy was his top priority, but time changes things. And even the most important things eventually turn trivial. Then what's not trivial? Making Leila happy. The moment I saw him give Leila that necklace I'd been longing for, disappointment in my heart overshadowed any jealousy. Avoiding my gaze, Gabriel frowned impatiently. Leila's your cousin's. He's in a bad mood. Am I wrong to check on her as her future brother-in-law? Looking at Gabriel, who couldn't even argue his point convincingly yet still acted self-righteous, I let out a bitter laugh. My lips pressed together as I stared at him, tears unconsciously welling in my eyes. Seeing my tears, Gabriel softened his tone and reached out to comfort me, but I pulled away. I'm sorry about today. Happy birthday. He pulled out a gift box and handed it to me. Inside were a pair of blue diamond studs, from the same jeweler brand as that sapphire necklace. The high-quality, pigeon egg-sized gemstones would have required months, even years, of advance ordering. These earrings, as a secondary item, needed no such wait. I didn't take the gift, struggling to hold back the turmoil in my chest and the tightness in my throat. Gabriel, Leila's getting married soon. If she's in a bad mood, she can call her fiancé or even me. You Ray, the last person she should turn to. Elena. Gabriel, clearly hit a nerve, snapped with anger and irritation. There's nothing between me and Leila. Stop acting like a rabid dog, biting at everyone. I laughed. Even if you slept together? That was the last straw. Gabriel, his anger boiling over with no outlet, suddenly hurled the gift box at me. It hit my forehead dead on. A sharp pain spread across my brow, and a warm stream mixed with tears slid down my cheek. I bit my lip to hold back a sound enduring the agony, and looked at Gabriel with a faint smile, as if trying to see into his heart. Gabriel's anger faded into guilt. He tended to my wound, apologizing repeatedly. Elena, I'm sorry. I thought you'd move out of the way. I sat on the sofa, staring silently at him. Gabriel explained that he'd just called some friends to celebrate Leila's birthday with her, and they'd all fallen asleep in the private room after getting tired. Leila must just being childish. She's done so many foolish things for me. I just want to make it up to her however I can. Thinking of my foster mother's only wish, I cut him off. Are you still going to marry me? Without hesitation, Gabriel replied, yes. He kissed my wound and swore he'd never see Leila again. Gabriel and I had known each other since childhood, grown to cherish each other, and loved each other for 7 years now. I thought I owed it to us to trust him, just one last time. I placed my hand over his, my voice calm but resolute. If you break your promise again, I won't want you anymore. But I'd forgotten, Gabriel wasn't breaking a promise. He'd already stopped being Gabriel. From that day until Leila's wedding, Gabriel truly didn't contact her again. The day before Leila's wedding, I sent her a red envelope via WeChat. Worried she might lose control as she saw Gabriel, I had no plans to attend. Instead, I took Gabriel to the nursing home to visit my foster mother. Gabriel got up early and made a delicate strawberry cake. Since when do you know how to bake? I asked, reaching for it without thinking. But he smacked my hand away firmly, then handed me another, less perfect cake. I looked at him in confusion. I loved strawberry cake, and I'd automatically assumed he'd made it for me. Hiding his awkward expression, Gabriel avoided my gaze. This one's for Aunt Sophia. Hearing it was for my foster mother, I thought no more of it and went with him to the nursing home. On the way, Gabriel was distracted, glancing at his phone constantly. He almost ran red lights at every intersection and even took the wrong turn several times. I couldn't help reminding him to focus on driving. Gabriel agreed, but his eyes kept darting to his phone. Then a message popped up. He slammed on the brakes suddenly, and the force sent my forehead crashing into the dashboard. New pain layered over the old wound. I let out a muffled cry, tears springing to my eyes at once. But Gabriel hurried to open the passenger door and pulled me out. Elena, there's an emergency meeting at the company. I have to go right now. Tell Aunt Sophia I said hello, will you? Clutching my forehead, I tried to hold him back. But Gabriel shook me roughly and drove off without a second thought. It was then that I got a call from the nursing home. My foster mother had suffered a sudden flare-up of her old illness in the snowy countryside. There was no way to hail a taxi, and in my most desperate moment, Gabriel had turned off his phone by the time I arrived. I'd missed the chance to see my foster mother one last time. The nurse told me that in her final moments, my foster mother had kept asking to see Gabriel and me, but she'd never gotten her wish. Holding her cold hand, I sobbed uncontrollably. That snowy night was dark and barren after handling her funeral alone. I turned on my phone. The pinned message was from Gabriel. Project urgent, out of town on a business trip for a few days. The rest were from friends. Leila had run away from her wedding, and so had my would-be groom, Gabriel. Leila's spam post on Moments were selfies at scenic spots around the world. In every photo, she was holding a hand with distinct knuckles, a hand with a clear ring indent on the ring finger. Her caption, "The world is with me right now." Even without the ring, I recognized the owner of that hand. Gabriel scrolling further, there was a photo of Leila in her wedding dress, nestled in a man's arms. Being brave for love today, I'm a runaway bride. My heart ached uncontrollably. No matter how hard I tried to hold it back, the pain cut to the bone. I called Gabriel again and again, but every call was rejected. Finally, I sent him a message, "Are we not getting married?" The next second, Gabriel called. His icy scolding made my eardrums tingle. "Elena, how desperate are you to get married?" I said, "I'm tied up with the project. Will you ever stop? You keep calling non-stop. The wedding's postponed. I'd like to see if you'll drop dead if we wait a little longer." A soft voice Lilas came from the side. "Who is it?" Gabriel's tone softened instantly. "No one important. Once, having fulfilled my obsession." Hearing such words from him would have sent me into a frenzy, screaming and questioning like a madwoman. But now, all the grief, Jealousy and resentment in my heart had been replaced by a deep sense of powerlessness and despair. As Gabriel moved to hang up, I spoke slowly. No need to postpone, cancel it outright. I'm not marrying you. The words left my lips, and I suddenly felt an unprecedented sense of relief. The wedding should have been called off long ago. After a long silence, Gabriel let out a sneer. Fine, Elena, you've grown a spine, huh? Trying to threaten me? Don't forget I'm not the one who was desperate to get married. Listening to his disdainful tone, I felt a trance, as if I'd never known him at all. The happiness we'd shared felt like a fleeting mist. I had been eager to marry once, wanting my foster mother to see me marry for love, but now I wasn't in a hurry anymore. There was nothing left to say. Still, I thought he deserved to know about my foster mother's death. Sophia's gone, Wayana. If you're trying to trick me into coming back, at least come up with a better lie. Dalila's voice urged him on, and then the line went dead. All hope drained from me years ago. Gabriel's mother, unable to endure his father's domestic violence, had stabbed him to death before leaping to her own death, leaving Gabriel behind. That nightmare had haunted his entire childhood. Other kids called him a bad seed, son of a wife beater and a murderer. They threw stones at him, mocked him, made fun of him. It was my foster mother who'd taken me by the hand, chased those bullies away, and defended him, again and again. Protecting him, I'd said earnestly. Aze, your mom did nothing wrong. And neither did you from now on. Elena will protect you. No one will hurt you again. To keep that promise, I turned down my foster mother's wish to send me abroad to study. All for his words. Elena, I'll marry you before you turn 25. Now, that promise had boomeranged, striking me hard. By the time Gabriel returned, I'd already erased every trace of myself from the house. That once warm home had turned cold and empty in an instant. But truthfully, it had always been that way. I'd just covered it with a filter called happiness, woven from my own love. I took off the ring from my finger and set it on the table. With my few belongings and the jar of stars my foster mother had left me, I prepared to leave. The sharp sound of the door opening shattered the silence before my departure. Gabriel was holding a suitcase in one hand, and with the other, he was holding Leela. Both wore smiles, and they shared the same black scarf. Cousin, Gabriel Geg took me to so many fun places, Leela said, removing the scarf and rushing to hug me. I didn't hug her as I always had. Instead, I gently pushed her away. Don't call me cousin anymore. We're no relation. Leela's eyes flickered, then filled with tears, and she began to sob. Ignoring her, I stepped around her to leave. Elena, what's wrong with you? Gabriel grabbed my hand, his voice cold. So what if the wedding's delayed? Is this really necessary? First you demand to cancel it, now you're running away from home. There's a limit to how much you can throw a fit. Listening to his warped sense of right and wrong, I felt too drained to be angry, too drained even to care. When someone doesn't love you, anything you say becomes a reason for them to blame you. I'm not angry. I pulled my hand free and said calmly, and I'm not throwing a fit. The wedding's already cancelled. I've notified everyone, we're done. Leela took my hand and knelt, looking up at me pitifully. Cousin, it's all my fault. I just didn't want to marry someone I don't love. I never meant to ruin things between you and Gabriel. Gege. I had no patience for her act. I shook her hand off, but she suddenly sat on the floor wailing loudly. Elena, what the hell are you doing? Gabriel stepped in front of Leela to shield her, then shoved me hard. His strength was overwhelming. I fell to the ground. The glass jar in my hand shattered, and the glowing stars spilled everywhere. Kneeling, I tried desperately to protect my foster mother's love, but Gabriel stamped on them, again and again. You're really out of your mind. He spat, holding Leela tight in his arms, his face stilled with loathing as he stared at me. Clutching the crumpled stars, grief surged like a breached flood seeing me cry, perhaps out of habit. Gabriel let go of Leela and reached to pull me up. Come on, is this really necessary? They're just some lousy stars. They were folded by my foster mother with her own hands. Gabriel shrugged infuriately. Then just ask her to fold some more. Problem solved. I smacked his hand away hard, stood up slowly, and stared at the heartless man before me. All my love for him had vanished, leaving only deep loathing. Anger roiled in my chest as I spoke, each word sharp. So you've never once taken what I say to heart, have you? Gabriel looked at me, confusion in his eyes. What are you talking about? A crisp slap echoed, and a burning sensation spread across my palm. Leela shrieked, immediately cupping Gabriel's face and glaring at me fiercely. Elena, what do you think you're doing? That woman wasn't even your real mom, so what if she's dead? How dare you hit Gabriel G.E.G. I raised my hand and slapped Leela with the same for shut up. I'm not here to be Gabriel's punching bag for his frustrations. Don't think I don't see through your little games. I never said anything before because I was beneath stooping to your level. You ran away from your own wedding, leaving your mother to clean up your mess. Where's your sense of decency? Did a dog eat it? Leela's face flushed, then paled with rage. She grabbed Gabriel's arm, ready to play the victim, only to find him staring at her coldly. What did you just say? Leela swallowed hard, terrified, shaking her head repeatedly. I didn't say anything. Who's dead? And no one. I'll ask again. Who did you say is dead? Gabriel's voice rose sharply, making Leela burst into tears at once, standing there helpless. Afraid I might hit someone again, I gathered up all the stars and turned to leave Elena. Gabriel pushed Leela aside and grabbed my hand. From behind came Leela's pitiful wail. Gabriel J.E.G.E. Leela's stomach hurt so bad the hand around my wrist loosened. Gabriel, panic written all over his face, lifted Leela into his arms, asking anxiously after her. Fighting back my grief, I stepped into the elevator. Elena, wait for me. I didn't wait. I pressed the close button. A person has only one heart, they can't care for two people at once. And I was clearly the one being cast aside after leaving the house. I returned to the home where my foster mother had lived once. Gabriel and I had lived here with her, sharing some of the best days of our lives in the yard. The crapple tree we planted together had long since withered from neglect. My phone kept vibrating calls from Gabriel, and from Leela's fiancé demanding I hand her over. Elena, where the hell have you hidden that bitch? Leela. Listening to the man's roar, I rubbed my temples. She's not my dog. Staring at the job offer from the charity organization in my hand, I resolved to leave the past behind for good. My foster mother had dedicated her life and wealth to charity. Without her, neither Gabriel nor I would be where we were. It was long past time I repaid her and the world. A rapid knock at the door. I didn't need to guess who it was, seeing as few knew this place. After a long silence, when I didn't respond, the person outside spoke slowly. Elena, I know you're in there. Feeling nothing? I opened the door. Gabriel stood in the snow, his black coat dusted with flakes. His eyes were red, and there was unease in their depths. Elena, looking at him, I spoke coldly. Leela's fiancé is going crazy looking for her. Why are you there protecting her? What are you doing here? He grabbed my hand, shaking his head repeatedly. Elena, I'm sorry. I really had no idea about it. I let out a bitter laugh and pulled my hand free. Other than Leela, what do you know? Gabriel, we've been together all these years, and I never knew you had a thing for stealing brides. Was the Aurora nice? Were the polar bears cute? Was the Aegean Sea beautiful? Faced with my barrage of questions, Gabriel hung his head, his voice growing humble. It's not like that, Elena. I only looked out for Leela because she's your cousin. Enough, Gabriel. How disgusting can you get? You're the one being shameless. Don't pin this on me. Gabriel's trembling lips exhaled puffs of white mist, and his gaze on me held a false tenderness that made me sick. Elena, I know I was wrong. Give me another chance. I'll never make the same mistake again. Exhaustion washed over me. I held up my phone, showing him the chat history between Leela and me. She was pregnant. Gabriel's eyes widened in disbelief. He reached for the phone, but I pulled it back quickly. Gabriel, we're over. There will be no second chance. Never, ever. I slammed the door shut, cutting off his desperate pleas and frantic explanations. Refusing to give up, Gabriel banged on the door. Elena, listen to me. I only see Leela as a little sister. Her pregnancy has nothing to do with me. Gabriel kept claiming he saw Leela as a sister, but I knew the truth. He'd always relished her devotion, her admiration, even her morbid dependence, just as he'd relished my love. My compromises, my concessions. Once, I'd never fought for attention because I trusted the love between Gabriel and me. But I was wrong. Gabriel had never loved me, nor Leela. He was just used to it. Used to our love. The knocking faded, and silence settled over the house outside. The snow still fell and Gabriel was no longer at the door. The storm raged all night. When I opened the door the next morning, ready to handle the charity paperwork, I was startled to find Gabriel standing there. He took my hand, a smile on his face. Elena, let's go home. I miss you. Coldness seeped from his purple-tinged palm into mine. Frowning, I pulled my hand away, annoyed let go. He didn't. Instead, he pulled me into his arms, stroking the top of my head as he always did. Elena, stop being stubborn. We were practically married suddenly. As if remembering something, his voice took on a humble, ingratiating tone. No, right. You haven't tried on the wedding dress yet. Let's go try it on, okay? I struggled desperately. But he held me tightly in his arms. Elena, Aunt Sophia never got to see you in that dress. At least let her see it. When Gabriel finished speaking, I calmed down, not because I still had expectations of him, nor because he'd mentioned my foster mother. It was because I thought of the photo I'd received that morning. I let him pull me to the bridal shop when the clerk saw Gabriel and me arriving together. A flash of panic crossed her face. She hesitated, about to speak, but I stopped her. Gabriel looked at me, eyes full of hope. Elena, you'll look beautiful in the wedding dress. I slowly pulled my hand away, smiling. You go change too. He stared at me, his eyes glowing with a fierce warmth as if trying to thaw my long cold heart. The first time Gabriel had looked at me like that was beneath a shower of dazzling fireworks. He knelt down to propose. His gaze sincere, his vows burning hot, searing into my heart. Fireworks are beautiful, but they fade in an instant. Gabriel put on the suit I'd carefully picked out for him, his face full of joy. But when the bride turned around, his smile froze. Gabriel, does Leila look nice? Leila was wearing the dress that should have been mine. Her delicate little face flushed. I'd received her selfie from the bridal shop that morning. Cousin, thank you for letting me have him. I think you'll bless me, won't you? Gabriel's face darkened as he strode forward. Who allowed you to wear this dress? Take it off. Leila pouted. Mop is HLY. Gabriel, doesn't Leila look good in it? You don't deserve it. Gabriel's fists clenched, trembling slightly, fire sparking in his eyes as he roared. I said take it off. The sudden outburst left the staff at a loss. Leila's eyes filled with tears, her voice pitiful. Gabriel, you said you'd marry me. Shut up. When did I ever say that? Chance, take it off. Gabriel glared at Leila fiercely, like a roaring beast ready to devour the woman before him in the next second. Gabriel, is already carrying your child. Slap. A sharp, clear slap echoed through the quiet room at Leila's words. Gabriel lost all control, raising his hand to hit her. Liar, I never even touched you. He turned to me, anxious to explain. Elena, don't listen to her nonsense. There's nothing between us. It's this bitch who tricked me. You introduced her to that domestic abuser, forcing her to marry him. I'd only ran away with her for your sake. Listening to Gabriel's flimsy excuses, I felt shocked, but ultimately, no waves stirred in my heart. If he'd trusted me enough, no amount of smooth talking from Leila could have deceived him in the end. He was just making excuses for his own actions. Leila was knocked to the ground by Gabriel, clutching her red cheek as tears streamed down relentlessly, her delicate makeup smudged by the tears. She reached out humbly to grab Gabriel's trouser leg. Gabriel, you see, you hit me for Elena. But I love you more, Leila sobbed, barely able to catch her breath. Shut up. Is that what you call love? You're just being disgusting. If it weren't for you, Elena and I would have been married long ago. Gabriel kicked Leila away in disgust, just as he'd done time and again in the past. After all that effort, they were back to where they'd started. Leila clutched her chest, laughing wildly, screaming. You can deny the child, but you can't deny my love for you. She pulled down her dress, revealing 3 words carved into the skin closest to her heart with a knife. Gabriel, the scabbed wound, still a vivid red, hadn't fully healed. Though self-harm as a show of love was nothing new for Leila, something in my chest he winged. I looked away silently at that moment. A disheveled, bearded man burst in without a word. He charged straight for Leila, grabbed her by the hair, and slapped her hard, quick, rough movements. Bitch. You cheated me out of the bride price and now you're running off with some bastard while carrying my kid. You're so damn shameless. I'll beat you to death today. The man looked familiar. He was Oliver, Leila's boyfriend from college. Leila's family wasn't wealthy, and as soon as she started college, she'd begun dating Oliver, who had a bit of money. I'd once warned her that Oliver was a man of the world, not a good match for her, but she'd laughed and said true love conquers all until later. At a sports meet she'd been framed into signing up for the 5,000-meter run and accidentally twisted her ankle. Everyone around was waiting to laugh at the ugly duckling. It was Gabriel who'd lifted her up in front of everyone and carried her to the infirmary. From then on, the handsome, graceful boy became the light in the girl's heart, and she fell into an unshakable obsession at the sight of Oliver. Leela clearly panicked. Her face turned pale, her body shaking uncontrollably as she scrambled toward Gabriel, begging for help, but Gabriel did nothing. Just watched her coldly. I was just a bystander to this farce. After asking the clerk to call the police, I turned to leave. Gabriel tried to chase after me, but Oliver grabbed him. Pretty boy, you're not going anywhere. I'm not done with you. To avoid Gabriel, I moved into a hotel during that time, unable to find me. He bombarded me with messages, but I'd already decided to take my foster mother's place, to finish the charity work she'd left undone before leaving. I drove to the cemetery. It was early spring, and the ice and snow had long since melted. A light train drizzled from the sky, and there was a familiar figure at my foster mother's grave. I stood far away under an umbrella, not disturbing him, quietly listening to his confessions to her. His tales of missing me after a long time. I placed the white chrysanthemums in my hand on the ground. I turned to leave silently. Elena, the familiar voice called me. I turned slowly, smiling at him. My heart was calm, no ripples at all. Gabriel's haggard face wore a forced smile. Why didn't you call me? So you knew I was here all along? With those confessionally said for me to hear? Gabriel pressed his lips together, silent for a long while before slowly shaking his head. I never lied to Aunt Sophia. He walked toward me, reaching out a hand, but I nimbly dodged it. Raindrops fell on his bony hand back, and he flexed his fingers awkwardly, making the wedding ring on his hand seem redundant. Elena, I've sorted out Leela's mess. Can we start over? I'll never let you down again. I looked at him calmly, smiled faintly, and held out my umbrella to shield him from the drizzle. Sorted out? How? Leela loves you so much, and she finally moved you. Can you really bear to let her down again? No. Elena, that's not it. Gabriel suddenly grew emotional, gripping my wrist tightly in a futile struggle. I only took extra care of her because of you. Other than that, I have no feelings for her at all. Again, the same excuse. Looking at Gabriel, I noticed that the once sincere, fiery light in his eyes was long gone. All that remained was greed, cowardice, and stubbornness. Gabriel, you really disappoint me. Disgusting. Even when Leela loved you, you despised her, loved her, yet showed off her love for you to your friends when she stopped loving you. You used up my love for you to provoke her. Now that she loves you again, you cast her aside like a pair of worn-out shoes. Have some shame. For once. Gabriel's eyes turned scarlet as he frantically denied my words, then pulled me into his arms, clinging to his last shred of hope. Elena, I love you. I've only ever loved you. Forgive me. Please. His voice was hoarse, begging softly. You said you'd always protect me. Always be with me. I pushed Gabriel away, and he stumbled to the ground. Raindrops fell on his long lashes, mixing with tears that slid down his cheeks. I squatted down, holding out my umbrella to him. No one will protect you or stay with you forever. Besides, you were the first to break your promise. As I turned to leave, Gabriel called out to me, his voice desperate and unwilling. Elena, is there really no chance for us at all? Water trickled down my cheeks. But I didn't look back. I knew it was just rain. Goodbye, Gabriel. At that moment, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Cousin, I'm begging you. Please give Gabriel Jati back to me. I'll die without him. I replied, love others only after you learn to love yourself. Then blocked the number. I packed my things and embarked on a new journey in remote areas. There are many children like Gabriel and me, lacking parental companionship, yet still optimistic, confident, and full of hope and yearning for life. I followed in my foster mother's footsteps, staying with them. I fed their curiosity about the outside world, and they eased the wounds the world had left on me. This place makes me feel at peace, and I love it here. The children here have never seen fireworks, so I drew them on paper to show them. Suddenly, the sound of fireworks bursting filled the sky above. Dazzling colors lit up my face watching the endless display. I felt confused until, in the dazzling glow, Gabriel approached, holding a bouquet of red roses. His well-tailored suit shimmered subtly under the fireworks. Selena, a fireworks show just for you. Do you like it? Staring at the flowers blooming and fading in the night, memories of that proposal years ago flooded back then. Gabriel's career hadn't taken off. He proposed under the borrowed fireworks at an amusement park in my starry-eyed admiration. He'd promised that once he'd made it, he'd put on a fireworks show just for me. Now Gabriel had long had the means, but the promise had been cast aside. Letting out a soft sigh, I spoke slowly. A little earlier, and I might have liked it, but now it's too late. A flicker of loneliness crossed Gabriel's eyes, but he refused to give up Elena. We loved each other so deeply. I don't believe you've really stopped loving me. A mocking smile tugged at my lips. Gabriel, then do you love me? Yes, he said, taking my hand and dropping to one knee. He opened a box, revealing a diamond ring and a sapphire necklace I'd once adored. The two sparkled against each other, casting a harsh light. Elena, I'll only ever love you. Will you marry me? The same scene, the same words, the same man, and yet, my heart felt entirely different once. I'd loved Gabriel sincerely, passionately, recklessly, willing to stay by his side forever. But now, all I felt for him was deep disappointment, disgust, even resentment. A broken mirror can never be made whole again, it will only cut you. Love. Gabriel, you make me sick. When you smiled at Leila's messages, did you dare say you loved me? When you pushed me away, scolded me over and over, for Leila's sake, did you dare say you loved me? When you left me in the countryside in the snow, making me miss my foster mother's last moments, did you dare say you loved me? If you did, then your love is far too great for me to deserve. Grievances I'd buried deep inside surged back. I thought I no longer cared, but before I knew it, tears welled in my eyes. Gabriel panicked, grabbing my hand and apologizing repeatedly. Elena, it was all my fault. For the sake of how much we once loved each other, give me one more chance. Let me spend the rest of my life making it up to you. Staring at the necklace once worn by Leila and feeling a wave of nausea. Gabriel, do you remember what you once said to Leila? People should know shame. Elena, I'm not like her. My love for you is real. It's Leila, that disgusting bitch, who has no shame. I leaned down to look at him, a malicious glint in my eyes. Perhaps sensing what I was about to say, panic flickered across Gabriel's face as he watched me uneasily. Gabriel, you remind me of someone. You remind me of your father. Selfish, unfeeling, insatiable. He showered your mother with kindness when chasing her, but once he had her, his true cruelty showed. Genes are inherited. There's no difference between you and him in essence. A knife always hurts the most when it's stabbed by someone closest to you. Gabriel covered his ears, completely falling apart, laughing wildly as tears soaked his cheeks. So Elena, you're just like them. You don't want me anymore, do you? The last firework in the sky fizzled out, and the night returned to darkness, making even the necklace and diamond ring look dull and lifeless. Yes, you don't deserve it. After getting his answer, Gabriel fled in despair. Finally, he would never bother me again. Later, I heard from a mutual friend that after breaking up with me, Gabriel's life fell apart, but he still struggled to run his company. When the last batch of funds came in, he didn't hesitate to transfer all his shares. Leila was forced to marry Oliver because her heart still clung to Gabriel. Oliver beat her until she miscarried, and her mind became muddled every day. Her eyes and heart were filled only with Gabriel. She followed him around, calling Gabriel Gege over and over, but never got him to look back. On another snowy day, she put on the wedding dress Gabriel had custom made for me and jumped from a tall building. Gabriel Gege, if Elena won't marry you, I will. She landed precisely behind Gabriel, who was about to drive away. Even then, he didn't look back. That day, I was teaching the children to draw when a pair of eyes watched me silently from behind. I turned around, but there was nothing there. Only an indescribable sense of unease in my heart. At night, dazzling fireworks lit up the sky again. Some little boys were setting them off by the roadside. I asked where they'd gotten the fireworks. Theodore replied, we found them by the road. And this too. I took the bag Theodore handed me. Inside, besides a strawberry cake, there was a glass bottle filled with stars, and that sapphire necklace. Elena, may every birthday for the rest of your life be happy. That day, the wind and snow were heavy, and the mountain road was slippery. I heard from the cook, Granny, that a man had died in a car accident at the foot of the mountain. She sighed. He looked so young. What a pity. From that day on, I never felt that watching Gaze Again and the charity I worked for suddenly received a large anonymous donation. With it, we built a school for the village, renovated the roads, and helped every child climb out of the mountains. In the warm classroom, Theodore stared intently out the window following his gaze. I saw nothing outside but a few cherry blossoms. I asked, "Theodore, what are you looking at?" He bit his pencil, disappointment in his eyes. "I haven't seen that brother in a long time. I'm waiting for him to bring me fireworks."